Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for turning out on a Friday morning for this. My name's Dave Giberson, and our topic today is using YouTube with your Canvas course. Tremendous resource in so many ways, both as a source of content and as a hosting service. We'll spend some time on both today. From the look of things, I believe I know all of you. Just to be on the safe side, for those who will view later, my name's Dave Giberson. That's my stupid dog in the background, sorry. One of the disadvantages of teaching from home. Taylor, shut up! Sorry. Let's see if that does any good. I'm formerly an instructional design coordinator, online learning pathways at the district. Now I'm retired, living in northern Idaho, as you can see behind me here, and just helping out a little bit with the transition to Canvas. And today's topic, as I say, is using YouTube with your Canvas course. I'll be spending most of the day sharing my screen, but there are a couple of things about Zoom I want to make sure everybody's comfortable with. One is how to control your audio. You will find if you look at the bottom of the Zoom screen, you should see a menu across the bottom. If you don't see that menu, just move your mouse cursor over top of me where you're seeing me and it should pop up. And in the lower left corner of the screen, at the far left end of the menu, is a little microphone icon. That's your mute button. If you click that, a red slash will appear through the microphone, and we won't be able to hear you. So if you have something noisy going on in the background, or if you just don't want the audio to be transmitted, you can mute, and then you can unmute just by doing the same thing again, clicking on the microphone icon, and you'll unmute and you can talk. With just the seven of us here today, it's not really necessary to stay muted unless you just want to. If there's a problem, I can handle it from here. If we get some feedback or something like that, I can handle that. So don't hesitate to unmute, and please don't hesitate to speak up at any time during the session. If you've got a question, please just jump right in and ask it. And you don't stand on ceremony. Just wait for me to take a breath and jump in. I'd much rather deal with the question right at the time, where it'll be relevant to everyone and we don't have to go back and say, oh, this is what we were talking about and so on. Just jump right in. I'll pick up where I left off shortly thereafter. The chat tool is also useful in that regard and in other ways. If you look over to the right on the Zoom menu, you will see the chat tool, which is a little cartoon balloon icon. And if you click on that, you'll get a little chat window, which pops up. And at the bottom of that, there's a little box where it says type message here. By typing in that box and hitting enter, you will send that message. You can send it either to everyone or to individual people. Just a second, let me, as I said, I can control any sound issues. There we go. Took care of itself. Very good. Please feel free to use that at any time if you'd rather. I'll try to keep an eye. I have that screen up on another monitor here, and I'll keep track of it as best I can. I may not see it immediately, but I'll get to it. Another thing I'd like to ask you to do, if you wouldn't mind, in the chat tool right now, so that I'll have a record if you attended. more and more of you pour in here. This is great. If you wouldn't mind just typing your name and your email address and pressing enter, so that I'll have that. This chat log will be saved at the end of the session, and I'll be able to get back in touch with you if something comes up, especially during the meeting, that maybe we couldn't cover fully, or I didn't know the answer to, or something like that. I can get back to you with more information. So thanks so much for doing that. And please feel free to use that. You can communicate, you can pass notes in class privately if you like. So don't worry about that. Very well. YouTube. It's oh, and let me share my screen now. I'll be doing this most of the day. If you'll see a little video thumbnail of me and some of your fellows probably pop up there, you can move that about if it occludes something that I'm talking about on the screen, or there's a little dash at the upper left corner of the window that you can use to minimize that, so that it's doesn't really impact your view of the screen much. Or if you have multiple screens, you can just drag it off to another screen and get rid of it, because being able to see me is definitely not going to improve your experience. But here's our outline for today. This is the first time I've done this course, and so this is just kind of a pious hope at this point. We've dealt with Roman numeral 1 here. And let me give you a link to this so you can pull this down if you like for future reference. Go to the share, and here's the link to that YouTube video. It's marked to be viewable by anyone. And I can go ahead, a little grandiloquent to call that a syllabus, but that's what I'll call it. And enter, there's the link to that document if you want to bring it up in another window or just have access to it later. That's it. So let's just start in with an overview of YouTube. Well, the first thing, of course, is how to get to YouTube. I would imagine most all of us know how to do that. To get to YouTube, all we have to do is go to youtube.com. One of the third most commonly visited site on the net, or it's in the top 5 anyway, right up there with the Wikipedia and the Google search page. It is, of course, a Google supplied site. Google bought YouTube early in its history. It's 7 or 8 years now, I guess, at least they've owned it, maybe longer. And it is one of the one and the same time, one of the most valuable and used resources on the web, and one of the most reviled in many ways. It is, of course, a site that contains videos on just about any topic you can imagine, and quite a few you can't until you see them. It is still the video home of the web, despite the development of many other alternative sites, Facebook, Instagram, things like this. It is still by far the most commonly used video hosting site on the web. Has the greatest collection of content, especially useful content. And the content ranges from the ridiculous. They do manage to pretty much keep the obscene off, though obscene, of course, is in the eye of the viewer, and there's enough content on there to offend just about anyone, but by and large, it's not egregiously unpleasant. And the just tremendous amount of advertising. Google makes a lot of money off of it, but it's one of the greatest free resources on the web. This we've all gone to YouTube to find out how to do something professionally or personally. You can learn to do anything from fix your sync to how to use Zoom, to learn how to use Zoom on YouTube. There is just every topic you can imagine on there. So it's a tremendous resource. It can be aggravating at times. It can be a little embarrassing at times, but some of the content, much of the content on there is just priceless. And it's an educational tool that is rarely, in terms of technological tools for education, there are very few that are as important or as useful. So we're going to talk about it a little bit today and how to use it, or use it specifically with Canvas. So let's go, let's bring up Canvas as well. Hi, Terry, welcome. All right, here's our Canvas system. Log in. Let's see here. And here's a video shell that I can use for illustration purposes today. Not much in here yet. Using YouTube with Canvas almost certainly involves creating a Canvas page. You're going to put links to YouTube videos and embed YouTube videos into a Canvas page. So let's just start ourselves a page here that for our class today. Just have to give it a name. Gosh, this is the 21st. And I'll save it in a little while. And we'll work with our rich content editor here, which is a wonderful, wonderful rich content editor. This is about to be upgraded yet again. It is far more reliable and just as powerful, or more powerful in many ways, than the similar tool we had in Blackboard. It's much less vulnerable to problems with pasting from Word, for instance. It's much less sensitive to the control codes that come over when you do that, just copying and pasting from Microsoft Word. So you're less likely to disable parts of the user interface by doing that, much less likely. But the features of it that we're going to deal with today that are particularly germane to this topic are its ability to allow you to link to videos on YouTube or to embed videos from YouTube. Make sure I clear up the term embed right off the bat. We'll see what it looks like in a minute, but nothing we're going to do here today is going to use any significant amount of your storage space that comes with your Canvas shell. The great beauty of YouTube is that the videos that you want to use are stored there. So you don't have to use any of your precious storage on Canvas, nor do you have to use any of Instructure's bandwidth, which they are very generous with to the California community colleges, but it is a finite resource. There's not an infinite amount of bandwidth available. When you use YouTube videos, Google pays for the bandwidth, and they have very deep pockets. Well, one of the highest market caps in the world. And they provide this to you because they make money on the advertising that they embed in YouTube. And one of the things we're going to learn today is how to defeat as much of that as possible. But it's all free. So you're not using any resources that the district or the chancellor's office or Google or instructor rather, pay for. Google provides these. It's one of the greatest advantages of YouTube. It's all free because it's a great advertising tool for Google, and they get lots of revenue from the advertising on it. There's all sorts of ways they make money from YouTube, and you don't really have to worry about that or participate in that. So you get this fantastic service for free, which is still incomprehensible. I just couldn't believe it for years. I didn't use YouTube for some time because I had access to other hosting services and so on. And I just couldn't believe there wasn't a catch somewhere, but there's really not that much of one anyway. It is free, and there's no real downside to using it that can't be, at least it can't be minimized. So let's start off by talking about how we can display content that's already on YouTube in Canvas. And there's several ways to do that. You can do it just the simplest possible way by going to YouTube and finding a video. Not a problem. No bachelor videos, sorry. Nothing, let's not get into politics today. All right, how about a movie trailer? No, that's the actual movie, sorry. You can, of course, also subscribe to YouTube and get premium content. Oh, here's here's a TED Talk. That should be fairly safe. TED Talks are all available on YouTube as well. They use the service themselves. When you go into a video on YouTube, whether it's your video or someone else's, this is not mine, this is one that I've just pulled up, you have a number of things that you can do. And perhaps the most important is to share that video with other people. You do that just by clicking on this little share link underneath the video. And there's many ways you can share this video, many sites through which you can serve it. But we're basically interested in two things here. The share link, the web link that you can give to someone, and they can either paste this into the location line on their web browser, or you can put this into a hyperlink in your Canvas course, and people can click on it and bring up the YouTube video. Simplest way to share a YouTube video. You just need to copy this to your clipboard, and you don't even have to do that manually. There's a little copy button here. You just click on that, and now it's on your clipboard, whether you're using a Mac or a PC. And that's all I need, really, at minimum, to share this video in Canvas. I just paste that link into the rich content editor in which I'm editing my Canvas page. The safe way to do that is with a keyboard shortcut, a Control-V for Victor on the PC, or I think it's Mac users, help me out. It's what's the control? Escapes my memory. Not option V. I'll have to go back and look at the keyboard. But anyway, very simple to paste that in. And then you just press enter. And you get a little placeholder. I'll think of that Mac key in a minute. And then save it just so we can see the result. And you get the title of the video, which is a hyperlink. You can click on that and you can go right to YouTube and play it. Opens up in a new window. There we
So
go.
I bought this.
Or you also get this little embed icon. You can click on that as well, and it plays as an embed right in the page. You can play it, turn subtitles on and off.
Good afternoon.
You can change settings like select subtitles if there are multiple languages. You can change the quality. This one's available at qualities all the way up to full high definition, 1080p, or as it's called. So you can actually go to the video on YouTube if you prefer to use the YouTube interface and you like seeing the ads. If you have an Apple TV device, you can play it on your TV, and you can full screen it so that it's easier to see. And if it's at a high enough definition, it'll probably be fine. Works like a shot. That's the beauty of one of the beauties of the rich context editor or content editor in Canvas. The maybe the only drawback to doing it this way that I can think of is that I haven't been able to figure out how to like move this video over where I want it or something like that without creating a table in the Canvas page, which is really not something I want to do for accessibility reasons, if nothing else. So that's really about all you have to do to share a YouTube video. There are other ways to do it that will give you a little bit more control over the presentation of that video. I'm back in edit mode here, obviously. I'll get my edit cursor here in the rich content editor out of the way of this so I don't, so I put something below it rather than above it or beside it or whatever. I can also embed a YouTube video into my Canvas page a little bit more, with a little bit more control by using the Insert Edit Media button here in the Rich Content Editor and just selecting the Embed tab. And this says, okay, it wants your embed code. Great, how do I get that? Well, I go back to my video on YouTube and I go to Share, and Embed is one of the options in my Share box here. So I just click on that, and here's my embed code. I just need to copy this to my clipboard, just like I did the URL. I can do that just by hitting this copy button down here, or I can, highlight it and do a Control-C. Doesn't matter, either one works. There we go. That's on my clipboard. Now I can go back to Canvas. I can go to the Embed tab, and with a Control-V, I put that code in here. For those got any HTML junkies in here, it's just an iframe embed. You can write this yourself if you know a little bit of HTML. It's not very complicated, and have even more control over it. So just click OK. And there we get a somewhat more attractive looking embed, and we can actually see it in the editor. We don't have to save it and go out to look at it. I can move that around. I can center it, or I can put it, I can right justify it. So that gives me a little bit more control over the page. And I have the same options that I had before in terms of being able to turn captions on and off, change settings, go to YouTube, play it on your TV, or go full screen. Nothing much to it. Now, everything I've done so far presupposes that I've already found the YouTube video. I know where it is on YouTube, and I can go to it without spending a lot of time looking for it. If that's not the case, the rich content editor will even streamline that process for you. This icon in the rich content editor is a YouTube search icon. You can, without leaving Canvas, without leaving the Canvas editor, you can search for YouTube videos by keyword. Somebody give me a keyword.
Earthquake.
Earthquake. There we go. Can't imagine why anybody in California would be interested in that. One of the happiest days in my life was when my house in Temecula, the sale of it closed, and the big one hadn't hit yet. The last couple of weeks was really a little bit scary. Okay. And press enter. Found. I must. Uh-oh, what's happening there? That can't be right. I spelled it right. Oh, that's interesting. Never seen that happen before. Let's try something else.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Sorry about that, Ms. A. Something unusual going on with the word earthquake. I'll look into that a little later. Clearly, that should not have given no results. This interface can get a little, Google has a bad habit of changing things in their, both in their user interface and in their so-called application programming interface, their API, that other vendors, other software vendors depend on. And then Google will just make a change and stuff stops working all over the web for a day or two, and then everybody freaks out and the internet erupts and Twitter erupts and so on. And somebody at Google says, oops, and they send out the information and things settle back down. So it's not a perfect world, but here we get the idea. Here's another keyword. In a misspent youth, I got a degree in chemistry, so I'll pull this up. And you can get just, of course, thousands and thousands and thousands of videos on any topic. Here's one, the fun of chemistry. One of the three great lies, I guess. We'll just for the heck of it, we'll try this one. And once we've found a video that looks interesting, we can, of course, click on it and get a little bit more information about it. And or I can go back to search results if that doesn't look interesting and keep going. 7 minutes of joy. Okay, why not? I can, if I find something that looks good, I can at least try it by embedding it into my Canvas page. I have the option of just using the link like we saw before, or I can embed in one of three different sizes. Let's just take the medium size for the sake of argument. And that's all. That makes embedding a video even easier, if anything, than the process we used before. That at medium size. Again, I can, with this one, I can control the location of the video on the page to a certain extent anyway. And I've now got this wonderful, rich, accessible in most cases content all ready to go. Particularly, this happens to be a TED video, so you can count on the captions being accurate. Don't have to worry about that. And it's accessible, it's ready to use, and you can put it in, that you can find it and put it in there in just minutes because of this tremendous repository of wonderful videos. And yes, a tremendous repository of cat videos, the single biggest category of video on YouTube. I'm particularly fond of the one with the cat riding around on the Roomba vacuum cleaner. But or the hundreds of ones of the cat riding around on the vacuum cleaner. But there's this wonderful, useful, educational content all on there as well that you can put into your Canvas course with just a few mouse clicks, with just a minimum of hassle. And when you embed video like this, you get rid of most of the objectionable part of YouTube, which is the ads. Though some ads are embedded, okay, and you can't do anything about that. This one doesn't happen to have an embedded ad. But all the stuff that appears off to the side of the YouTube video, when you actually go to YouTube and look at it.
When you wake up on an uncomfortable mattress, you feel groggy.
So there's really very little downside to using YouTube in this way. The process of embedding the video in the Canvas page gets rid of most of that. There is one remaining thing that is aggravating that the embed does not get rid of, and that is the habit of YouTube popping up suggested videos at the end. Go all the way to the end of the video here. Play it out. We can't get rid of that. Well, in this case, well, Ted has used that is interesting. They've used the trick I'm about to show you here, because what I would often get at the end of a YouTube video, let's go back to YouTube itself here and just pick a video at random. Oh, I love the Blue Man Crew. Let's go with that. And we're not going to spend 13 minutes watching the Blue Man Crew.
Won't get any better than this.
This is what you get at the end of a YouTube video all too often. You get a bunch of recommended videos, which have some connection with the video that you've just watched, but often the connection is tenuous, A, or downright irritating, B. All too often, at least one of the videos will involve somebody in a thong. And as often as not, it's someone who shouldn't be wearing a thong. So these suggested videos are not necessarily especially educationally useful. If you want to avoid those, it can be done, or at least you can minimize the impact of this sort of thing. YouTube used to just have a switch in the video settings where you could say, don't show suggested videos. But then some genius at Google figured out they were losing too much advertising revenue that way, so they took that option out. Unfortunately for them, and fortunately for us, they couldn't take the means that they couldn't take the functionality that option in the YouTube settings used to activate out completely, because it was just an HTML trick, a hypertext markup language trick, that you can still apply. And you don't really have to know anything about HTML or know anything about creating web pages. You just have to know one little bitty trick. If we share this video, get the share link of this video, and click on the Embed tool, we'll get our Embed code here. And I can copy that to my clipboard with a Control-C, or just by hitting the copy button. And then I can take that into Canvas. Oh, I got to edit my page again to be able to look at that. Down to the bottom here, so I can get my cursor. Ah, sorry, thought I hit edit. There we are. So there's my cursor down here, so I can embed that video. And I can go to my Insert Edit Media tool and go to the Embed tab, and I can paste the embed code in. And if right here at this place, here's your YouTube URL and /embed, and then the actual code, the YouTube location code for the video. If right at that point exactly, I put in, let's see, I have this, I type in a question mark, lowercase REL, an equal sign, no spaces in any of this, and a 0. That will be added to the embed code. Click that, OK. Now, when I play this, I go to the end, and I do hope this works. Usually does. Tiny desk concerts are cute. Bing. No suggested videos. Google would prefer that you not know that, but it's widely available on the web. You can, in fact, Google it and find out about it. Just Google prevent suggested videos in YouTube. Boom, it comes right up. It does require just that tiny bit of tinkering around, but given the ease of use of Canvas's rich content editor, you can just take care of that and avoid almost all of the YouTube advertising this way.
Okay, starting with the question mark. What was the text?
Yeah, let me put that in the chat tool. Very good question. Let me put that in the chat tool. It is, let's see, prevent listed videos. Question mark REL lowercase equals 0.
Wow, that's easy.
There it is.
Thank you.
And it goes again, if we look at that embed code again, it goes right here at the start of the embed code is the iframe, and then there's a width and height number. By the way, you can change the size of the embed by editing those as well, if you like, if you want to get to playing with it. Be a little careful about keeping the ratio between the two numbers, the width to the height, the so-called aspect ratio, pretty close to what it is there. If you don't, you get funhouse effects, and people are short and squat or tall and thin and things like that. It's a great way. It's a great way in your own videos to take about 20 or 30 pounds off yourself, just like that. But I wouldn't use that, no. But right after that comes the so-called source tag, the actual video URL for the embed code. But right before that quote, closing quote sign right there, you just put in the $sign or question mark, excuse me, no space, just a question mark, REL, equal sign, and a 0, not an O, a 0. And that will prevent, it doesn't specifically prevent suggested videos from coming up, but necessarily, but if they do come up, they'll come up out of your channel. So it'll be one of your videos that might have something to do with this one that will be suggested. And that's only a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. So this way you can get around Google's decision to eliminate that feature in YouTube. Always feels a little good when you can put it to $1 trillion corporation. Okay, let's see. Can you, Nancy had a question. Can you add the filter for closed captions using this function in Canvas? Well, pretty much you don't really have to filter for closed captions when you're using YouTube, because like 99.8% of the videos on YouTube do have closed captions. They may not be perfect. They may not be edited, but the automatic closed captions in YouTube have gotten so good that the chances of you having an issue with that are very remote. So basically everything that's on YouTube is captioned to one degree of accuracy or another, and in the vast majority of cases, the captioning is adequate, if not perfect. And that was certainly an issue we were going to deal with today anyway. So thank you for that. All right, let's see how we're doing here. And you don't have to worry about most of the rest of this here if you're just going to use videos on YouTube that are already there, that you search for, you find, oh, that's great, I like that, that's perfect for what I want. You embed that in your Canvas page and you're off and running, and you don't have to worry about much of anything else. For the rest of the session today, we're going to talk about how you can use YouTube more actively, how you can put your own videos up on YouTube, how you can take advantage of YouTube's strengths and minimize the disadvantages, and get what used to be thousands of dollars worth of video hosting and bandwidth for free. It's still a little hard to believe that all this is free, but hey, I'm sure in some way we're paying for it, but it's pretty painless. The only thing you have to have in order to use YouTube actively, to put your own videos up on YouTube for free, is a YouTube account. And the good news about that is that you probably already have one. If you use any Google service, well, let me qualify that a little bit. If you use any Google service other than the basic Google search, where you just go to Google and type in a search, you almost certainly already have a YouTube account, because all Google services share the same Google account. Certainly, if you use Gmail for your personal email, you already have a Google account. So the chances are you already have one, but on the off chance you don't, you can create a Google account by going to, in a number of ways, but one way to do it is go to accounts.google.com on the web. There that is in the chat tool. And just press enter here. And in my case, I've had a Google account for a while, so it just pops up my account. If you don't have an account, you'll have an option to create one. And you go through an account creation process. Let's see, can I? I don't think it'll let me actually simulate that for you because I already have one. And I'd have to log out of my Google account and so on. I don't want to interrupt the process here, but the process is quite straightforward. It's like creating any sort of account online. You get a form, you fill in a bunch of information. You do have to give Google some somewhat personal information, notably your email address, which they will of course sell to someone in one form or another. Just part of the cost of doing business these days, and even for free. But chances are your information's already out there anyway. That horse left the barn a long time ago. So there's no really serious compromise of personal privacy or anything that hasn't already happened in order to create a Google account. They will require you to link it to a cell phone because they're going to text you a verification link to verify that you're not a robot, and keep themselves from being scammed quite so frequently. The most common way to set up a Google account is to tie it to a cell phone number, though there are other alternatives to that they'll explain to you in the account creation process. So you create your Google account. Once you do that, you have access to all these wonderful free Google resources on the web, like Gmail, like Google Drive, which will give you 15 gigabytes of online storage space for free. And you can store your all sorts of files up there, including videos. And you can share those files with other people. You can create websites. One of my retirement volunteer activities up here has been creating a website for the local, for the Friends of the Historic Hope Cemetery. Yeah, the joys of retirement. Completely free through Google Sites. So there are lots of wonderful, wonderful resources, which are outlined here, and these are all Google services that you can use. Just marvelous. But the one we're talking about today, of course, is YouTube. And this gives you a YouTube account. When you go to YouTube, if you are logged into your account, you'll see your little, well, actually that's my Chrome. I'm using Google Chrome, so Google Chrome is another service that you get free from Google, the web browser. So that it knows who I am, but YouTube also knows who I am because I'm logged into my Google account. If you're not, this little, you'll just have a, or if you're not, or you haven't uploaded an avatar image, this will look different, but you can just click on this image, and if you're not logged in, you'll be prompted to do so. And you can go from here to manage your Google account. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that today. But the one remaining thing you have to do to put your own videos on YouTube is to create what's called a channel. It's basically just your storage location from which where you're going to store your videos and from which you'll serve them to the world. A channel is not provided automatically. It's totally free. If you do not have a channel, you'll be prompted to create one. You can call it anything you like. This is what mine looks like. Not much. You can customize the channel in all sorts of ways. It's not really something that you need to worry about a whole lot. And you can, of course, upload an image as well to associate with your channel if you wish. You don't have to do that to make it work. And you get all sorts of information about your channel, who's subscribed to it, things like that. I don't have a lot of subscribers because I don't promote it that much. But over the years, you pick things up. And this is just your home page for the channel. And it just shows you some videos that you might play. Once you have a Google account and a YouTube channel, you're ready to go. There's nothing much to putting your videos up on YouTube. Many video creation tools, and those of you who were with me for the screencasting seminar the other day or a couple of weeks ago, saw that many of the tools that you use to create videos that you want to share online will connect automatically to YouTube, more or less automatically. You have to give the tool your your Google account information so it can interface with YouTube. But in many cases, you can just upload videos that you've created to YouTube automatically through the interface in the tool which you use to create the video. This is true for Screencast-O-Matic, the online screencasting tool, for Snagit, for Camtasia, and many, many other video creation tools out there. Should you not have such a tool, or if somebody provides you with a video file just as a file, or instead of giving you a tool to create a video, they just give you a video file. You can upload to YouTube extremely simply. As long as you're logged in, all you have to do to put a video on YouTube is to click this little icon right here, a little stylized camera with a plus sign on it. Pretty good interface design. Then create a video. Click on that icon, and you have two options. One is to upload a video that you have presumably on your local hard drive or on a thumb drive or something. Or you can broadcast live from your webcam and your microphone and reach people all over the world if you advertise the broadcast and give people the URL to access it. It's kind of interesting. It's a one-to-many type broadcast, so that people can see you and hear you, but they can't talk back to you like they can in Zoom. So I don't spend a whole lot of time worrying about that. It is an interesting thing to play with. If you'd like to play with it, I encourage you to try it. But Zoom, for educational purposes, Zoom is far superior because, of course, your students can communicate back with you. It's a many-to-many, a two-way thing. So it's but it's a nice curiosity. But the vast majority of the time, we'll upload a video. Let me just click on that link, and we're provided with an interface that will allow us to do that. You can just drag a file out of your file manager right into here and it'll start uploading, or you can just hit select file. There is a file find dialog box opens up on your PC or your Mac. You find the video and you select it. We'll do that in a moment. But there is another factor, another property of your Google account that you're going to want to address before you do this, and that is called account verification. With an unverified account, which is what you get when you first create your Google account, and your Google account may or may not be verified if you already use Gmail or something like that. It just depends on what you've used it for. But it is critical that you verify your Google account if you're going to use YouTube, because there are certain features in YouTube that are not available unless you verify your account. That is basically just prove that you're a human being, that you meet Google's requirements. I think you have to be older than 13 or something to load video onto YouTube. Not a problem for any of us. And the verification, when you first create your Google account and your Google and your YouTube channel, you'll be prompted to verify it. And all that involves is having Google send a code to an email address or to your phone, which you then enter into a box that the interface provides you, and you prove that you're a person and aver that you're eligible for a YouTube account. This eliminates the 15-minute upload restriction that Google or YouTube would place on your account. Otherwise, you couldn't upload a video longer than 15 minutes. I will say that's not necessarily a bad thing, because videos that are longer than 15 minutes tend not to get watched very much, or people get partway through them and then just fast forward through it and move on. But there are times when you'd really like to be able to upload videos that are longer than 15 minutes, like this video the recording that we're making of this Zoom session right now will be, at the end of the day, I'll upload it to YouTube. And it's going to be quite a lot longer than 15 minutes, unfortunately for you. And I certainly don't want to run into that limitation in that event. So you will need to verify your YouTube account. As I say, normally you will be prompted to do that. If for any reason you have any problems with that, you can just go to Google, type verify Google account, and you'll have all sorts of directions on how to do that. There's nothing much to it. I can't really show you that because mine's already verified. Okay, let's see, we were uploading a video there. Get back to that. Here we are. So I just select the file. I think I haven't uploaded one of the last Zoom sessions I did. So, but I don't really want to do that right now because that'd take too long. The longer the video, the longer it takes to upload and process. So let me just go to my videos thing here and find a short video. Ah, yes. We'll see this one in a minute, but I know it's short. I just select the video and click open. Then my upload dialog begins. I'm required to give it a title. By default, the title will be the file name on my computer, but I'll give it a title. Animal videos are always popular. Optionally, I can provide a description. I can upload a thumbnail that will display when I embed the video in certain ways. It's not necessary. We'll talk about playlists in a little bit. There's one thing you have to do, though. You have to tell Google whether this video is made for kids. They've gotten in trouble with people marketing things to kids that they shouldn't do on YouTube. And YouTube provides extra scrutiny for videos that are focused on kids. If so it's important that you be honest at this point and that you indicate to Google that, and probably in this case, it's not processing abandoned. That's interesting. I don't know why that did that. Oh, I bet I know. I think I've uploaded that already, and it noted that. I was about to put a duplicate up there. All right, we'll undo that. But you do have to tell Google whether you're going to do that or not. Let me go ahead and get stupid dog. It's a duplicate video I've already uploaded. Okay, figured that out. Yeah. Yes, I want to delete it. All right. So let's upload one I know I haven't uploaded yet. Again, I go to this same little icon here. You see that in more than one place in the interface. I'll upload the video. I'll select the file. And I'll go to my documents directory and I'll look for my Zoom folder. This is where recordings of Zoom sessions that are made locally, that is to the local computer, which is my preference, are stored. And they're stored in folders, which are dated and timed, so I can tell what I did when. And this is the video from the other day, I believe. And in the Zoom, in the folder for this Zoom recording, generally the last file, the one entitled Zoom_0, is the actual video file with both the video and the audio in it. So that's the one I want to upload to YouTube. So I just select that file and click open. And that's all there is to it. YouTube does the rest. I do need to give this a title, better than Zoom_0, obviously. That was, like I can remember, assessment. Very good. I could give that a more complete description if I wanted, but that's pretty much what we need to worry about. We can see over here that YouTube is keeping us apprised of the progress of the thing. Is uploading the video to YouTube right now, which can take a little while. If that's a 2-hour video, it's going to take a little while. Again, we'll look at playlists. No, this one's not made for kids. So I don't have to, neither YouTube nor I have to worry about jumping through those hoops, and most of yours are going to fit in that category as well. It gives me the link already, so if I need to go and put that into Canvas right away and then catch up with the rest of this later so that the video will show up in Canvas as soon as it finishes processing on YouTube, I can do that right now if I want to. And it does give me the file name just in case I need to refer back to that. So basically what I have to do here is give it a title and tell it no, it's not for kids. I can also add search tags to it, which help people to search for it. That's mainly useful if you're doing a public service here and you want it to be available to anybody out on the web. You can add keywords here that will help this come up when people search for certain keywords, like canvas or assessment. Comma separate. If you enter multiple tags, just separate them with a comma. Those are optional. You don't have to do that. The language will be the default language for your channel, which Google will prompt you to set at some point as US English. You don't have to worry about caption certification. You can include date and location of recording if there's some reason to do that. You can set this up with one of a variety of Creative Commons licenses if you wish, or you can just leave it at the standard YouTube license. You certainly want to allow embedding it into Canvas, though that's a default. If you don't change it, that'll be it. And you can notify people who have subscribed to your channel will get a notification that you put a new video up. That's useful. And you can set the category for the video, which in our case would normally be education, but it might be something else. That's pretty much it. Then we can move on next to hit the next button down here. And while we're doing this, the video's uploading. And once it's uploaded, it will be processed, which means YouTube will convert it into a format that works with YouTube's servers. And that's all automatic. You don't have to worry about any of that. And the video will also be, over the period of probably the next hour or so, will be captioned automatically. YouTube will convert the soundtrack, assuming there is one, and if the soundtrack contains speech, it will convert the speech to text and slice that text up into captions. And it will do an amazingly accurate job of it. YouTube captions used to be a joke. They were funny, they were inaccurate, occasionally unintentionally obscene and everything else. It was just a treat to go in and look at them and see how bad they could be. That's not the case anymore. They're remarkably good. And they can be created in something like 48 languages. So if you know you have a large number of, say, recent immigrants to the country whose primary language is not English, maybe they speak Spanish, maybe they speak Vietnamese at home and so on, you can caption the video in any one of about 40 some languages. All for free. I still can't quite grab that. There's really nothing much you need to do on this video element screen. You can add an end screen that maybe has some information about you and things like that in your channel. It's a vanity thing. It doesn't add that much to it, I don't think. So I'm just going to hit next here normally, not bother with anything. I do have to set visibility. And that's a decision that you will have to make. There are 3 options for visibility in YouTube, on YouTube. The default is, well, actually they don't give you a default anymore. You have to select one. The most common visibility is public. Not only can anyone view the video, but they can search for it using Google and find your video, potentially, if they're good enough. And you've given the right tags, and or you describe the Google searches the video titles, the video descriptions, and the tags. It searches the tags especially effectively. So those are good. If you're wanting to publicize a video, you want to put lots of good tags in for it, as we saw in the first screen. But that makes it visible to everyone. It is a public service. I mean, these videos that you create, even if they're not professionally done, or if perhaps there may be other videos on the same topic on YouTube, there almost always are, your unique take, your unique presentation very likely will be useful to someone. If you hit a nerve, if you happen to hit a video, put a video on YouTube that covers a topic that a lot of people are interested in, you can rack up hundreds or even thousands of views on a simple YouTube tutorial video that you've created for your class, and you can help people all over the world. I had one experience like that. Gee, must be 15 years, close to 15 years ago now. I put a video up that thought I'd shut that off. Pardon me. I put a video up that showed how to hack something in on a Macintosh, which is a laugh because I've never owned a Macintosh in my life, and I'm not very knowledgeable on the ecosystem. But I found something that a lot of people happen to be interested in. I just made a short, it was a Jing video, if I remember correctly, for those of you who remember Jing, a little 5-minute screencast that showed how to force a Java update, I think it was, on a Macintosh computer. And the last time I looked at that video, it had something like 30,000 views. Even though there must have been other videos on there that covered that topic and so on, but there was something I had done with that video that was unusual, that generated an insane amount of interest, totally unintentionally. I just put it up for an individual faculty member, and it ended up. So it's cool to put videos on if you feel comfortable, and if you feel that the video may be of general interest. By all means, make it public. And okay, maybe it's not perfect, but the vast majority of YouTube videos are not perfect or professional or anything, but they're still useful. So if you feel comfortable, make it public. If you don't want to do that, the next best choice is unlisted. Unlisted videos can be viewed by anyone, but they can't search for it. They can't search for it and find it on Google or any other way. You have to give them the share URL, which we saw earlier, which you can either email that to someone, or you can embed that URL in a Canvas page, or you can put it in an email and send it to them, whatever. I think I said that twice. You have to provide people with the URL. Once they have the URL, the web address, they can view it. And they don't, anybody can view it. They don't have to be logged into Google or anything else. And that is probably the most common visibility for educational videos, which are not of general interest, which when I create a video that's intended for a single faculty member that maybe talks about something that is not of general interest, or that may have some element of confidentiality to it, I'll make the video unlisted. That makes it impossible to find. The YouTube URLs are generated random with a random series of characters, hashed. So nobody's going to find it. It's effectively invisible unless you provide someone with the URL, with a share URL. So that's a very secure way of storing a video on YouTube without having it be publicly viewable. The third visibility option is used very seldom, private, because it's very restrictive. A private video can only be viewed by a very small number of people. I think the limit is 25 or 30 people can be given access to a private video. In order for them to, and our video is finished processing, or at least made it partway along. That's been happening while I've been blathering here. So YouTube is keeping us updated on the progress of the process. But a private video is something you would use if you were maybe putting videos of your kids up to share with family members, or something private like that that you really don't want to share with the world. You don't want any possibility of anybody else seeing it. You then have to go in and put in and everybody who views the video has to have their own Google account. You have to put the email address associated with their Google account into the settings on the video, and they have to be logged into their Google account in order to view it. So it's only useful for intensely private things. It's certainly not something you want to, a visibility option you want to select for an educational video that you want to share with a class full of students. There's no need to make it private. Unlisted is perfect for that, or public if you think the video will be of public value and you're not uncomfortable with doing that. Please don't be uncomfortable about the fact that the video is not perfect. Like I said, the general standard for YouTube videos is, in terms of video production values, is not very high. If your video can be useful, it's a public service to put it out there as a public video that people can use. So I'm gonna make this one public. Who knows, people might want to know about assessment in Canvas, and when I use Canvas, I'm using sample courses and dummy students and things like that. So I'm not exposing any personal details or anything confidential, so fine. I'm not sure what an instant premiere is myself. Google adds stuff to the interface all the time. Before you publish, it says check the following. Do kids appear in the video? That's a hot button item, and there you can learn more about what you need to do if that's the case. You can learn more about community guidelines on YouTube. Basically, any instructional video that you're going to post is going to meet those guidelines. And if it doesn't, Google will let you know, but it's highly unlikely. So once you've answered all these questions, you just hit the publish button down here. And bada bing, your video is on YouTube. This is the share information for the video. If you need that right now, you can get the share URL or the embed code right away. You can send it right to your Facebook account, Twitter account, Reddit, Tumblr, all these other things that in your Russian social media account or whatever you might have, without having to go through a lot of hassles. If I close this, the video appears in my list of channel videos. So I can now share it with people. It's there. There are certain other things I can do with it that we'll take a look at here in a moment, but let me take a look at the chat tool. I haven't done that in a minute. I thought it was frowned on to use videos with auto captions. Frowned on perhaps in some cases, but if you look at the video, if you look at the captions and they are adequate, if you can turn the sound off, play the video with the captions, and keep track of what's going on in the video, they're adequate, even if they're not perfect. No captions are ever perfect. So yes, it's better if the captions are edited, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. But very often you can get, quite frankly, you can get away without doing it. Let's see, anything else? How do you turn off the comments feature? We'll look at the at some of the settings here for the video here in a moment. Yes, and you can prevent people. I think you're pretty sure you can prevent people from commenting. You used to be able to anyway. I never know from day to day what Google is going, what YouTube is going to activate or deactivate. So let's look a little bit though at our YouTube Studio, which is your management tool for the videos that you have uploaded. And I'm going to get back to YouTube itself here. Show you how to get to that, if you don't just happen to drop into it automatically. All right, here's what YouTube looks like when you first bring it up. To get to your YouTube Studio, you go up to the upper right-hand corner of the YouTube frame here, and you click on your avatar or just a little outline image of a silhouette image if you haven't uploaded an avatar image. And you go to, you can go either to your channel or more likely to the YouTube Studio, which is your management tool for your videos. This is your channel dashboard. It basically gives you some overall overview information about your channel. I've got 53 subscribers. I've had 524 views in the last 28 days. That was up 13% from the last period, a similar period. And so on. The watch time has been a total of 16.4 hours. That's interesting. Lord knows who that was or why they were watching, but and these ones, somebody's found my little Snagit recording video I put up some years ago useful. That's interesting. That's from another life. What the heck? So people have been watching some stuff. And old basic news, things like that. Not that much that's really useful here, though I can upload a video right from here if I want to. That little icon is often available. I can go to my list of videos, and it just gives me a list of the things I've uploaded recently in order by upload date by default, so that this is the one I just uploaded. We'll talk about playlists in a minute. If I want to do something with one of those videos, I just click on the icon for that video, and here's the video details page. And this is where you can set settings about the video. I can change the video thumbnail, that is the image that shows up when it's displayed in a list of videos on YouTube. Like maybe I'd rather have Phil and I than this, or maybe I wouldn't rather have Phil and I. Let's just leave it at the default one. Or I'm not sure what that is, a little hard to see. Oh, we'll leave it at the default. Again, you can indicate whether it's made for kids or not. No, this one is not. There's no age restriction on it. I can change tags, add tags, or change them if I want. Here's my share URL. Video quality is standard definition right now, only because this video, YouTube, when you upload the video to YouTube, it's initially displayed in standard definition, which is usually 480, I think, or is it 420? 420. Relatively fuzzy. But if the video has the underlying quality, which it will if it's, for instance, if it's recorded in Zoom. As YouTube continues to process the video, it gets sharper and sharper until it'll be available in high definition quality. This one just hasn't been up there long enough. Here's where I can change my mind about my visibility if I like. I can add an end screen. I'm not going to worry about that, and so on. I can get more options as well. So I can change my category. I can set a recording date if I like. Let's see. I can upload, if I have a subtitle file, I can upload it there. I can disable ratings if I like that. Comments. This is where, and this is the answer to the question that Nancy had. This is where I can disable comments if I like. Rarely are comments useful. And I certainly want to be sure to allow embedding. There's no paid promotional content and so on. So these are just some basic changes. And when I finish those changes, I can save. And now the commenting, for one thing, is disabled. Often you won't even have to visit this page at all, but it's there if you need it, as long as you've chosen your visibility correctly in the first place. You can get some analytics. This video has no analytics, of course, it's just been uploaded, but you can see when it was viewed, and you can even see where in the world people are viewing it from. And so there's some useful or some interesting stuff, but nothing too critical to your use of YouTube. There is a sort of a video editor associated with this. I'm not going to spend any time on it because it's very much a work in progress. And Google had an editor, they got rid of it. YouTube had an editor, they got rid of it, then they brought it back. I got so many complaints about it, they eventually brought it back. The capabilities in this editor are pretty minimal. It's not really worth spending a lot of time on right now, but it's something to keep an eye on because it will get better over time. They're still bringing it back. So I'm going to close that, just mention that it is there. Oh, darn it. I didn't mean to do that. I sawed off the branch while I was standing on it. Sorry about that. So I can go to back to my YouTube studio. I can always get back there. So you can see your videos and you can get to them to change settings or get back to get the share URL. It's the most common thing. And you can see views, the number of times videos have been viewed. Gee, that one hit a nerve. Viewing and checking grades in concluded Canvas courses. Whoa, a lot of people looked at that one. Adding open educational resources to the SDCCD OER site. Got a little activity at one point. The Canvas demo was viewed by a few people. So this just gives you some basic information about how your videos are being received and used. Sort of a status tool for you. Questions about any of that? Probably the thing that you would be most likely to do with one of these videos is to edit the captions. But you're probably not going to edit the captions in a 2-hour Zoom recording, quite frankly. That ain't going to happen. This one's a little shorter, unless it's still a 22-minute video. It's going to take some doing. Let me see if I can find one that here's a 2-minute and 25-second video. We'll take a look at that one. This was an example of a technique called board casting that I recorded in an earlier seminar here. If I want to go to that video, we've already seen I can change settings here and so on, but I can also view it on YouTube. And if it's my video, I have autoplay set because I forget to turn that off, so I have to tell it not to play. Then I can, if I want to edit the captions on this video, which is the next thing we'll talk about, I click the Edit Video button, and that takes me back to this settings page. And I'll have to go to more options. And I'm going to go to Subtitles to manage other. So I have to select my video language, which is English US. And I see that I already have an English subtitles track that's been automatically created. That will appear. That was pretty quick oh, I'm sorry. That's right. This video has been on there for a while, so this has already been created. That 2-hour video, it'll be a little while before the subtitle or for the captions subtitles show up. If I want to edit these, I click the little menu button right next to this particular caption track, and it tells me I can edit on Classic Studio. There's an earlier version of this YouTube Studio which they're trying to phase out, but they can't phase out this part of it because they haven't added this caption editing functionality to the new YouTube Studio. So I can edit. I click Edit on Caption Studio, and here's my captions. If I actually want to be able to see them a little better, I can click, if I want to edit them, I click the Edit button. He said, there we go. And now I can actually see them a little better. And my edited videos or my automatically created captions are here. In order to edit these, what I can do is to just play the video. I'm going to give a lecture. I can just go. Okay, I'm going to give a lecture. Well, it gave me a capital I at the beginning. That's unusual. But this was a period. There should be a period there. That's really the only thing that was wrong with that sentence. Otherwise, it's perfect. We're here in my legal pad. Now let's say I can just go over here to my legal pad, period. And probably that's going to need a cap. Edit that and just keep playing. I'm going to give a lecture. I can just go over here to my legal pad. Now let's say by training, I'm an organic chemist. This is a little intimidating when you're just speaking off the cuff. You realize that you're being borderline illiterate at times. It doesn't look as good when it's translated into text, but it's accurate. Let's say, then I went off in another direction. That's the beginning of a sentence. By training, I'm an organic chemist, comma. So basically all I'm having to do here in most cases is put in punctuation. and spaces between sentences and caps at the beginning. These are generally not things that will stop people from being able to use the captions. So let's say I was teaching organic chemistry and I wanted to show students how to make at least it ignored the us. Benzene, C6H6 is one. Okay, that was the end of a sentence. Period. And so on. There's the beginning of another sentence. It even got the chemical formula correct. So editing these captions is no big deal. The caption editor is extremely easy to use. It takes a little time, but as you can see, the thing has not missed a word yet, which is the thing to worry about. And some of these are relatively technical terms. Benzene is a, a chemical name, a common name for a chemical. It will not be perfect on extremely technical jargon, and you may need to go in and clean that up some. But the vast majority of cases, the captions are going to be usable to start with. But cleaning them up, especially on a short video, is really not very difficult or very time consuming. If your videos get up to past 10 minutes or so, then suddenly it's a bit more of a task to neatly edit your video, edit your captions. I'm going to leave that to you and your conscience and your DSPS reps and so on, but I will tell you that I almost never get pushback on the captions on YouTube, automatic captions on YouTube videos. So once we finish with our caption edits, we just save the changes. And the captions are now better than they were before. It will occasionally force you to make that. I don't know why it doesn't seem to save that permanently in places. So now I have two caption tracks, the automatic one and the edited one. And the edited one will be used by default. So I can go back and I can edit this some more in another session, so on, just by clicking on it, bringing it up, clicking edit, and moving on. And it warns you to watch out, you're about to overwrite a transcript, so don't do that by accident. So not much to editing captions. Interestingly enough, these days, and this is a relatively new feature on YouTube. Let me go to the video on YouTube from my thing there. Give a lecture. I can just go. Just below the video here, we've already seen the save URL, or the share URL, excuse me, or the share button. There's also a save button that I'll talk about in a moment. One of the last things we'll talk about. But we have this little menu icon here, which also has something interesting in it. Mainly, there's a, well, you can add translations to other languages, which are phenomenally accurate. But there's also the option to open a transcript for the video. And here you get your captions as a transcript. This does not satisfy. I mean, you've got captions, and there's a requirement, the Section 508 ADA requirement is that you have captions of the video. That is, that the text of the soundtrack pop up in small bites at the same time as the person is speaking the words, or within a reasonable degree of synchrony there. A transcript is not enough to make a video accessible, because people can't figure out where in the video the transcript, the text is being spoken. But this can be useful in the case of an audio, if you want to put an audio file onto YouTube, or rather, if you want to put an audio file into your Canvas course that does not have accompanying video, you can get a transcript of it automatically created this way. If we click this, we can toggle timestamps off, and you can get just a clean transcript of the video. And you can of the audio track of the video. That you can highlight that, copy it to your clipboard, and put it into Word and save it as a file or any other text edit. He said, there's Word, blank document, Control V, and there's your transcript. Like the captions, it wasn't quite perfect, but it's mostly perfect. And very useful if you're posting audio files. So how do you get an audio file onto YouTube so you can have YouTube actually transcribe it for you? This is a little trick that didn't used to be possible on YouTube, but it's a nice new feature. It was designed as an accessibility tool, but you can use it in certain ways. What you can do, and I'm not going to show this because it's not something that everybody will be interested in, but it is possible to take a video and put it into a video editor like Camtasia and strip the video track out so that all you're left with is the narration, the audio track. You can then replace the video track with a I'm approaching this obliquely. I shouldn't do that. Let me start that again. Pardon me. Let's say you have an audio file that you want to get a transcript of, and you don't want to have to sit there and listen and type and listen and type. What can you do? How can you use YouTube to help you? Well, you can take your audio file and you can open up a video editor like Camtasia. You can drop the audio into an audio track on the Camtasia editor, and then you can add a video track that's nothing more than a still image, just a picture or something like that. It doesn't matter what it is because you're not going to use it later anyway. But you can, in effect, turn that audio file into a video file by just adding this still image that the audio will play over top of. You can save that as a video file, and then you can upload that video to YouTube, which will then caption it and produce this transcript. You can grab the transcript in the way that I just did here, and then just delete that video from your YouTube account because you're never going to use it for anything. Or leave it there, it doesn't matter. It's not going to take up any significant amount of space. But then you can acquire this transcript, which you can then post in Canvas along with the audio file and save yourself a tremendous amount of typing. So for the first time, really, YouTube can be used as a tool to help you create the transcript for an audio file. That's something I probably need to make a tutorial video for. It's not something I want to spend your time on right now because it's a it's not probably a generally interesting prospect. If you have some audio files, yeah, podcast with a transcript, exactly, Nancy. If you have some audio files that you'd like to transcribe this way, I would be happy to work through that with you, show you how to do that. And if it looks like there's some interest in it, I'll create a tutorial video showing how to do that, and I'll put it on YouTube. So that's just a little added nicety that I'd mention that I just found not too long ago, because that's come up for me before. Let's see. Let's take a look at our thing here. Let's see. We've done. Okay, we just finished talking about transcripts. We've seen how to share using URLs and embeds and how to avoid YouTube ads. Oh, one thing I didn't include here, but the last thing I want to mention is the YouTube playlist. It can be handy if you've got a bunch of videos that are all related to one another in some way, and maybe they're on the same subject matter, but they cover just different aspects of it. It's always better to produce a series of short videos than it is one big long video that people have to wade through to find what they want. So if you have a bunch of videos that are related in some way, but that that you might want to refer people to as a group rather than one video at a time, you can create what is called a playlist. I go back to my YouTube Studio dashboard. I've got a menu listing here for playlists. And again, this is nothing more than a group of related videos. And I've got a few different playlists. I've got one for training seminars, which I'm going to need to add the one that I'm creating right now into. I've got some that are Canvas tutorials, Zoom tutorials, and a couple of other things that I've just been playing with. You can always make a new playlist just by clicking this button here and giving it a name. I don't want a new one right now, but that's all there is to making one. You can give people access to your playlists by clicking on the title of the playlist here, and we'll get to the individual playlist page where we can do things like get the share URL for the playlist, not for the individual videos, but for the playlist. You can also get an embed code, just as you did for individual videos. So that's pretty similar to sharing individual videos. You can sort your playlist if you like, and you can remove videos from it if you don't think they're useful anymore, if you decided that they don't belong in this playlist. So you can manage your playlist using these menu buttons out here. You can sort by certain criteria so that when people work through your playlist, they see certain videos first. The only other thing you need to know about playlists, which should be on this page and isn't, is how to put a video into this playlist. Put one of your videos. Actually, you can put, they don't have to be your videos. They can be anybody's. You can create playlists that contain videos created by other people on YouTube. To add a video to one of your playlists, all you have to do is bring that video up in YouTube. I want to go to my channel, I want to pick up that very last one I did, the one I just uploaded, the assessment in Canvas. And at the bottom of the video, right next to the share button, is a save button. And this is how you add, what this means, what it should say is add to playlist, probably. If you save that video, you get a list of your playlists. And the one I want to add this to, of course, is training seminars. This is really not appropriate for other video production or screencasting. No, not really. So training seminars is about the only one I need. And all I have to do is make that check and close the box. Now this video is in my playlist. Let's see if I can get back to my playlists here. Go to that training seminar, and there it is, freshly added. So when I want to refer people to these training seminars, all I have to do is send them to that one URL, send them the share URL for the playlist, and they'll get all of these, and they can go in and watch what they want. Okay. And we're right at 11 o'clock. And we're right at the bottom of the outline. How'd that happen? Even a blind hog will find an acorn every now and then. That is what I had prepared for you today. Do you have any last questions for me? I'll stop the share. And my God, there are a surprising number of you still here. I can't tell if you're awake or not. But you're still
I'm awake. I'm awake.
That's a remarkable feat. Any questions? Comments? Something extra you'd like?
It's good to know where your YouTube channel is, so I can go and find some of those recordings, and in case I have any questions. So this one will be up the next couple days.
Yeah, next couple
when
days.
you get around to it.
Exactly. No, I try to get. We spent enough time on it here today. I want to get it up there as quickly as I can. Let me know if there's anything else. As always, I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions for me, just email me. There's my email, and the will be in the chat tool if you need that. Most of you have it, I think. And I will look forward to hearing from you and hope to see you for our next session, which will be on the 25th, which is next Tuesday at 10 a.m. to noon, and is a general session on bringing your Canvas questions. Subtitled Stump the Chump. So hope to see you then.
All right.
And I will look forward to it. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.